if you listen to some of the channeled messages that lightworkers are receiving and delivering to us about the upcoming fifth dimensional consciousness shift, then you might come to the realization that there's an urgency here. We're being told to hurry up and move into that high vibrational frequency, that high dimensional consciousness. Otherwise, we'll be left behind. I don't think this totally makes sense, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, why we should be excited about the upcoming shift rather than worried about it. So let's get started. The idea that a shift from a third dimensional to a fifth dimensional consciousness is on the horizon is getting to be pretty well known, especially in the spiritual community. But it's not just limited to that. Even in our social media and pop culture and mainstream media, we're starting to see evidence of the same thing. If there's a Comedy Central feature on YouTube about the Anunnaki giving us another chance because we've discovered magic mushrooms, then we know that some amazing things are happening. I'll just give a quick rundown of the features of a five-dimensional consciousness. I have another video on this that goes into more detail, and I highly recommend you watch that. However, just for now, here's a quick rundown. We know that lower vibrational emotions will not be a dominant feature. We know that we'll be able to manifest at will. We won't have starvation anymore, abuse, war, disease, and most of the negative experiences we have in this 3D society. There really won't be such a thing as problems. And if there are, the solutions come immediately following the realization that a problem actually exists, thanks to our ability to manifest at will. We will know for absolute fact that we are source, and every moment of our existence and every decision that we make, that will be a prominent feature. There won't be rules or hierarchy. Since we'll be able to communicate with each other immediately through telepathy, there will be no delay, nor any decision that goes against the group's interest or will. We will truly be part of a human collective, just like the Pleiadian collective or the various councils or other extra-dimensional collectives. Judgment is gone as well. We officially have direct access to the 0 point of non-judgment, and we can visit or remain in that state in every now moment if we wish. We will also be dominated by higher vibrational emotions. Time will not be our prison, and we will have transcended out of the restrictions of time and constantly live in the all-powerful now moment. For us to consider this further, let's dive into what the messages are actually saying to us. We're often being told that we have to move from the third dimensional consciousness to a fifth dimensional consciousness within ourselves before it's too late, before society moves on, and those who don't move are left behind. These messages are purportedly coming from higher dimensional beings being channeled here on this planet. But there's something that doesn't totally add up to me. If these beings that are telling us this are truly high dimensional beings, then they are not bound by the restrictions of time. They know that there is always the now moment, and should be, from their perspective, no urgency whatsoever for us to move from the third to the fourth to the fifth dimension. Another piece to this is that I work with an extra-dimensional collective called the Hathors, and they have never mentioned to me any sense of urgency to us achieving this fifth dimensional consciousness before some sort of deadline. As a matter of fact, they teach me the opposite, that if you go into a situation with urgency, with fear, with concern, these are lower vibrational frequencies that actually would prevent you from moving up into that fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness. Another thing to understand is that when I've worked with others, I have a friend who channels the ninth dimensional Pleiadians, and I've talked to them a little bit about third dimensional things and third dimensional concepts. And I've been surprised to find that they often don't totally understand the third dimension. And I've even taught them some things about the third dimension, and they've thanked me for helping them understand it better. That seems a little bit strange, right? Why wouldn't they know? But also, if you think about it, what do we know about the second dimension? We don't know anything about it. A being from the second dimension would have to talk to us about what it's like to live in the two-dimensional reality. So in a way, that does make sense. So if they don't totally understand the limits of the third dimension, then the information that we're receiving about this urgency could be flawed because they just think, oh, time's a problem for them in the third dimension, so let's make sure that they don't waste their time to get there. Something else that I know for sure is that once we make it to the fifth dimension, once the human collective is a fifth dimensional collective, then we move into a space where time is not a factor anymore, right? So in that space, once we get there, then we essentially have always been there. We have always been there because there is only the now moment in the higher dimensions. So that means one of two things. One, we will eventually reach the fifth dimensional consciousness as a human collective. And if that is true, then we have always been there. And actually what we're doing right now is we're reenacting that accomplishment. Why would we reenact that accomplishment? Probably because it's so amazing. If you think about it, we reenact all kinds of things in our history because it's interesting or fun or enjoyable. Well, to do this in this case, we even forget that we've already made it, so that's even more amazing. It makes it more fun and more engaging. The other possibility is that we won't make it, and this society or these humans will just destroy themselves before we make it into the fifth dimensional consciousness. If that's true, then oh well, because we are source. We can just create another Earth. We can try it again. We could create another different planet and have another set of beings that are a little bit different than humans and do it again and see how that works. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about being left behind. Why would we leave behind if we were together, moving from the third to the fourth to the fifth dimension? We would have unconditional love for all. We would have compassion for every being and every entity that exists. Why would we leave behind beings and say, haha, you didn't make it, too bad for you, see you later? That doesn't add up either. And the only reason that we would leave people behind, in my opinion, would be if they signed up for it in their soul contract in the first place. I am not just going to pull away on the bus and watch all the people running saying, oh, wait for us. And then we all laugh, us five-dimensional beings on the bus, and point at them. Ha, you didn't make it. Bye. We're going to paradise. Good luck. That doesn't make any sense at all, and it doesn't sound like anything that we would do as fifth dimensional beings. This whole video was created because I had a conversation with a student who reached out to me and said that she was super worried that she wasn't going to make it on time and that she was going to be left behind. And I did not want to see that happen. I did not want her to worry because that worry, that concern, was going to lower her vibration and it was going to leave her behind the rest of the students in my class. This is where a fear-based motivational approach fails, of course. And that also doesn't add up. Why would higher dimensional beings use a lower vibrational fear-based tactic to motivate us to go ahead and hurry up and move into a higher vibrational experience? I think I know why. It reminds me of why we experience negative entity attachments. We're not experiencing negative entity attachments because there's a war between good and evil. We experience them because they're motivating us to go ahead and raise our vibration and ascend. Maybe our path isn't quite right. And so we need to move over into a high vibrational path so that we can help others move into a high vibrational path. And so the negative entity attachment arrives to torture us, to make us suffer, so that we seek out help. And that help often comes in the form of raising our vibration, because negative entity attachments have nothing to attach to if you're a high vibrational being. And so in that same way, using urgency to make us hurry up and raise our vibration and go through the sequence of ascension could work, because it does work with lower vibrational or with negative entity attachments. And so in working with that student, here's what I said to her. We're moving the entire world into 5D. We are not going to leave anybody behind. We're going to keep working until we're all there together, or we'll die trying, and that's okay too. so you get to do it at your own pace. Once you've started this process, once you've started down this path, it can take you as long as you need to get there. The only people we might leave behind, if we have to, are those who do not want to, or for those who have it written in their soul contract that they are not supposed to. If you're watching this video, or if you're in my class, then you are definitely one of the ones that's coming with us to the fifth dimensional consciousness. I am not going to leave you behind. So let's go. Not for the fear of being left behind, but because this will be an awesome experience. And if you come with us, we will help you help the next people, and the next people help the next people move from this dimension, the third and the fourth, to the fifth. This is one of the few videos that I've done where I do not have an activation inside. However, there's an amazing fifth dimensional activation that you can download off my website. It's one of the most powerful free activations that you can download from me. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video and participating in this idea that you are not in any sense of urgency to get from the third to the fifth. Take your time, get there at your own pace, relax, and move into that higher vibrational frequency of gratitude and unconditional love. I certainly love you unconditionally, and I'll see you on the next video.